Hi stamping friends, happy Friday. Welcome to my Friday crafting playdate. I'm going to do a series of 4 weeks of Friday crafting playdates, and my goal is to inspire you, to show you some new things, hopefully get you digging into your craft supplies and trying out some new things. So today is Friday, January 8th, 2021, and we are going to work on a new card template today, fast and easy cards, and we are going to look at a new product, the blending brushes. So, are you ready to get ink on your fingers? Let's get started. All right, I'm going to turn the camera around. Okay, this is a good day to stamp today. It is gray outside and it's not very inspiring. So hopefully you'll see something inspiring today. All right, the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to learn a new card template. And I am calling this my Rip and Flip. And I do think I came up with that. I don't know, maybe. And I first came up with this card in December when I created these cards for my customers who had purchased in November. They got 3 Christmas cards. So let me show you how this works. This is a great card template for when you want a quick and easy card and you just want to also use up your designer series paper, and you want to use both sides of that delicious designer series paper. So it's very easy. It takes a half a sheet of cardstock, a 3.5 by 4.5 piece of a coordinating cardstock, and a 3 by 4 piece of designer series paper. And then something that is punched out for a focal point. So the paper that I'm going to show you today with this template is the Berry Blessings bundle that comes in the Celebration catalog. Here are the 6 berry sides, and here are the 6 pattern sides. Delightful. All right, so here's the pieces that you need. And the only thing that you want to be concerned about with your designer series paper that you choose for this technique is that the opposite side that you want to use is going to coordinate with, in colors, with the front side that you're going to use. So you want them to coordinate. So most of the papers do coordinate, but not all of them. So you would want to just make sure you choose one where the other side is going to coordinate with the pattern. So the patterns will go together. All right. So this is so easy. So again, this is 4 inches by 3 inches, and you're just going to tear off a little strip of this, and you're going to control the tear by using, by pinching with both your thumb and your finger, and you're going to just pull it towards you. Like that. And then you literally flip that over, and that is going to create a wonderful backdrop for your focal point. So the piece that's 3.5 by 4.5, or I'm sorry, 3.25 by 4.25, you want that to kind of coordinate with this. So here's how you put it together. I'm going to not press down on this edge just quite yet, because I'm going to slide this one just right underneath. like that. All right, so you can see why you want those to coordinate. I think I got it a little crooked. Let me fix that. There we go. All right. So now you're ready to put that on your card front. And I think it looks really cool to have a background. So I'm going to stamp a background. The set that I'm using for this card is called Sweet Strawberry, part of the Sweet Strawberry bundle. Comes with this great strawberry punch. So I'm going to use one of the images that are in, that's in the stamp set to stamp the background. And since your paper takes up a lot of the card front, you really only have to stamp around the outside. Like that. Oh, look, I'm using my paper. Started something with snowflakes on it. I love that the paper's two-sided and you can use both sides if necessary. All right, so that's going to go on there. And then we're going to put a focal point on. And I'm going to stamp the strawberries. So this is a two-step stamp. It has a solid strawberry and then an outline. So I'm going to use just the same color, Poppy Parade. So I'm going to stamp it off once first on my scratch paper. So it's a little bit lighter. And then I'm going to ink the outline. So that will show up a little bit brighter. I'll use the punch. Not that way. I guess I was supposed to punch it on the other side here. All right. What are you guys up to today? Are you working? Hey, Stacy, how are you? Okay, now I'm going to punch the two-step stem in Granny Apple Green. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to stamp off the bottom or the solid image, and then I'm going to use the outline image full strength. That way I get two values of the same color. I did not plan this very well with my white, did I? And then we're going to use the little stem punch here. Hey, Cheryl. Working, yes. Okay, look at this cute little stem. He's so cute. All right, let's attach him to the strawberry. And now we're going to put him on a little piece of Granny Apple Green to make the focal point and stamp our greeting. So I'm going to choose one that is actually from the coordinating set that goes with this in the Celebration catalog. You can get for free this set with that paper. That is the bundle in the Celebration catalog. So I'm going to use, well, what am I using? Oh no, I'm using this greeting right here. Hello there. Hello, Robin. Wake up. Okay, here we go. And this is how we'll finish, by popping that up on the front. Hey, Bonnie, how are you today? I miss ya. All right, so there is my Rip and Flip Easy card. Because this piece is 3 by 4, you can actually get 12 cards from one sheet of 12 by 12 designer series paper. So that is a good value. Let me just show you, because once I came up with this idea, then I went a little crazy. It's kind of addicting once you come up with a little pattern, and then you want to try it with all your other designer series papers. So here's the blueberries. Oh my goodness, isn't that so cute? And again, these the back side and the front side, or the opposite sides, they coordinate together. So it just makes such an easy card. Here's the raspberries. I wanted to make a card out of every single one of these papers. So just to show you again, here's some more raspberries. Here's some cute little strawberries. And look at that side. That's going to be delightful. And then there's this piece, which is just like, it reminds me of fruit punch. Like, it's just all beautiful with some beautiful, almost like gingham check on the other side. Now, I know there's going to be some of you watching that do not like to tear. And you know what? I totally get you. That is not a problem. Don't worry about it. You can still do this technique. Just use your paper cutter and cut that and then flip it over. And if you want to get a little bit of a white edge, you can just take your fingernail or a tool and you can run it alongside. And then you can get just a tiny little white edge that's not torn. And then you'll still get the same kind of effect. All right, let me show you some more here because I went a little nuts. So then I took our black and white paper, and this is in the January to June mini catalog. And so one side of the paper is all black and white florals. The other side is all geometric designs. And so I love this paper. I took this paper and I put together some really quick cards where the focal point was just all black and white, using the rip and flip technique. And then I just popped it onto a bright color. So there's that one is the Magenta Madness. This is Bermuda Bay. And this is Bumblebee. Now, you don't have to just do it this way, of course. You can flip this piece the opposite way and, you know, rip and flip a little bit less, depending on what you're greeting or whatever you want your focal point to be. So you can put together some really quick cards this way. And then I couldn't stop, and so I got out the Flowers and Field and Flowers paper. This is something you can earn free in celebration. Again, just so gorgeous. All those florals on one side, all the pretty patterns on the other side, and they all color coordinate with each other. It's just amazing. So I put together this one. I used the stamps from this stamp set called Pretty Perennials. This is in the January to June mini catalog. For these, look at that. Whoops, can you see that? Oh. So excited. I literally want to just go through everything now and just make these. So I love how you get that nice crisp white little tear. It adds some texture and it just really makes the front of your card very interesting. So that is my quick card template for you called the Rip and Flip. Patent pending on that name. All right, I will post all of these samples and I follow up this video with a blog post. And on that blog post, not only will you get to see the samples up close, but I have a PDF that I'll post so that you can get the dimensions. You can download this and save it for the next time you want to a quick and easy card template, this will help you. I find that when I have taken a break from stamping for a while, I have a hard time jumping back into it. So, you know, even though I was busy making things over the holidays, it's like there's a rhythm to it, right? So you kind of get out of the rhythm a little bit, and then all of a sudden, you know, you can't think of what to do or what product to use, or you feel like a blank slate in your head. You just can't think of anything. And so I love having these templates available, especially the easy ones, because it just helps you kind of create something without having to think too hard. And then once you start creating, then it comes a lot easier. I think it works that way. All right, so now we're going to, that was our card template, the rip and flip. Now we're going to do a product spotlight on our new blending brushes. So these are in the January to June mini catalog, and they are on page 70. When you get your catalog, you get 3 of them in a package for $12. And I am so sad I only have 3. Like, I literally just started using these this week. This is what I pre-ordered. And now I'm like, oh my goodness, they are so amazing. So I'm going to hold this up here and see if it'll kind of zoom in. Before they have ink on them, when you first glance at them, they look like they're foam, like they're a foam sponge, because the bristle heads are so tightly woven in there and you know, cut into this beautiful round shape. So it's kind of gives you illusion that it is more of a foam like sponge and not actually a bristles. But these are great nylon bristles. I don't know if you can see that. And they just do amazing things. So we are going to work with these, and hopefully I will give you a bunch of ideas. If you have these, you can dive right in and get them ink, get ink on them right away. If you don't have them, put them on your next list. This has to be something I think that everybody needs. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to show you is just a basic card technique. So we are going to do some burnishing. Let me just back this up just a little bit. Whoops. Okay, oh my goodness. I think it's on now. I totally dropped my camera and then it wouldn't go back on. Oh, I'm so sorry. I apologize. I'm still trying to figure all this out. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is just burnish with the colors. And so I picked some nice warm colors, since it's kind of a gray day. And I also picked colors that are kind of in the same color family, so that I could just use one brush, because I only have 3 right now. And I think that you can get away with maybe having, you know, 6 or 9 of these, and just like have one for your greens, one for the yellows, one for purple, one for reds. But the technique I was going to show you today, I want to kind of use some multiple colors, so I kept them in the same color family. So let me start with the yellow. And so what you want to do is just kind of tap it into your ink pad. And then before you start to add it to your cardstock, you want to just kind of tap it a little bit on your scratch paper, just to get like the really saturated, parts of right at the end of the bristles. You want that to just kind of get tapped off before you start to apply it to your paper. Then start off of the paper and move on to the paper. That way you just won't get that initial smudge of ink. And you want to kind of have some kind of motion going before you know, as you add the ink. It'll just make it look a lot smoother. And so I kind of like to do the little circular motion. And by doing that off and on, then you get a really smooth finish. So you want that to be a little darker. You just go in again, add a little bit more ink, and add that on there. Now, I'm sorry if the camera's going to be shaking. All right, so you can see how that works. So there's my yellow. Now I'm going to go to pumpkin pie. Tap it off, start off the paper, and then swirl it. Start off, and then go on to the paper. Anything that you want darker, just go back over. And you can just keep layering and layering and layering the same color and get it as dark as you want or as light as you want. And it's so smooth. All right, now I'm going to do red. And again, because I'm going progressively darker, kind of in the same color family, I guess, I can just keep using the same brush. I'm going to add some red. And of course, where the colors meet, they kind of overlap and they just look so pretty. Isn't that beautiful? I love it. All right, so let's make a quick card out of this. This is just one of the stitched rectangles that I cut out of Whisper White. And I am going to use one of our 2 new Celebration stamp sets. This one is free with a $50 order, Approaching Perfection. And this one, A Touch of Ink, is free with a $100 order. And so, did you know when you get a brand new stamp, you know how sometimes they don't ink up really well? If you just kind of take that and you rub it on your arm or hand or whatever, it just kind of gives the surface just a little bit of, it's almost like sanding it, but it doesn't sand it. And that way it takes the ink a lot better. So I'm going to use the butterfly image. And in black ink, I'm going to stamp that. And then I'm going to put the greeting on. If things really do get better with age, then you are approaching perfection. I am thinking of my friend Jackie today. It is her birthday, and she was my buddy and roomie in college, and we always had so much fun on her birthday. So, all right. So that is called burnishing. That is just putting the ink onto the paper. All right. So I'm going to mount that onto a piece of Daffodil Delight. And then I'm going to put this on a red, real red card base. But first I want to show you something else that you can do. You can use these with a stencil or a decorative mask or any kind of masking situation. So I'm going to just add a little bit of background. I'm not going to do the whole thing, just some of it. And I'm just holding the template down so it doesn't move. Sorry, the camera's moving. There we go. So just made a little background on there. And now I'm going to pop up our focal point. So that's the second thing you can do with your brushes. You can use them with your stencils or with masking papers, with shapes or punches that you punch out and you want to just get like a shadow around it. Boy, this is so pretty. Sorry, I had this in my head, but I hadn't actually made one yet, and I'm glad it's turning out. So now I'm going to add some of these red rhinestones. Just gonna put 3 on there. Well, that's a cute card. All right. Let me show you this. So when I cut this piece out to the stitch rectangle, I had this was the piece that I cut it out of, all right? And so I had practiced just using this piece as a stencil. And so I put it on here, did the same technique that you just saw, and then it created this very nice little box on a piece of white where I could just boom, stamp a greeting, and then, you know, make that into a card. And of course, this just needs some more ink on it, and then we can use this piece on a card as well. And then I just wanted to show you that you can also color your ribbon. This was white, and I just took the red and I colored that as well so that you could, instead of white, you could have some red ribbon that would match that. All right, so you might be wondering if you already have sponge daubers and you have sponges, like what exactly is the difference? So let's just do a little test here. So here's a sponge. So these come in round, big round circles, and we cut them up and we use them. This has been just a great stamping technique for years and years and years. I love the sponges. All right, so I'm just gonna kind of show you the difference here. Now you can make this darker by putting more and more ink on there. So we've got that. Here's a dauber. Ooh, it's squeaky. Must be clean. I did just clean my daubers. I love the daubers. I tend to do small coloring things with them, but you can see here I'm getting a lot of shadows because I can't quite apply that first bit without getting the little, you know, kind of a circle image in there. But that gets nice and dark. And then if we could compare it to the blending brush, sorry for the shaking. It holds a lot of ink, so you'll be able to get that, you know, really, really dark and intense. And if you can see, I'll hold it up close in a second here. It really looks smooth. So let's just compare here for a minute. So this is the blending brush, this is a dauber, and this is the other sponge. So you can kind of see here there's little it almost looks like it's scratchy, and that's just because of the surface area of the sponge. But you can see here, like this is so smooth. It really like gets into all the little crevices of the paper. So that's the comparison there. Okay, let me show you a couple other things you can do with the blending brushes. Now you don't just have to, let's flip that. You don't just have to burnish on cardstock. You can also burnish on your DSP paper, your designer series paper. And what better than this beautiful black and white paper? So let me take some Highland Heather, and I'm going to just purposely put this where the flowers are. To highlight those, and then I'm going to take Granny Apple Green and I'm going to fill in the rest of the spots. Like that. Isn't that beautiful? I love that. And so here's a sample with with a whole, you know, quarter sheet mounted on some gorgeous grape. It's just so beautiful by itself. You just have to pop on a focal point and you've got a card. I think that's just amazing. You can also create an ombre effect if you choose 3 colors that are all the same hue. So I've got soft sea foam, and I've got granny apple green, and I've got garden green here. And then I've got a piece of whisper white paper that I have masked with Post-it notes. So I just attached it like this in 2 strips. And so I've already started. Again, I only had 3 brushes, so I had to kind of plan this kind of carefully. I already started and I added the soft sea foam. And then I added the granny apple green. So that's kind of where I left off with my color here. So I'll show you. I started off, but instead of doing lots of circles, I just kind of brushed it back and forth like that until it got as dark as I wanted it. Now I'm going to move on to garden green. This one keeps wiggling here. And I'll put the darkest color at the bottom so you can kind of see the graded colors. It gives it kind of an ombre look. Ombre. Oh my goodness. Boy, this technique was not good for the camera. Okay, you get the idea. So then when you peel this off, you've got a nice crisp line and you've got your ombre colors. And so you can super easily just stamp something in there. I'm going to stamp this beautiful coneflower on there and then put a greeting right there. Boom. Here's the finished card. Just mount that on some black and some granny apple green. And you've got another very, very simple card that is going to just be a wow because of that beautiful masked ombre. Okay, so we know to burnish with our blending brushes. Also burnish into designer series paper. We know how to mask with a background, and then also with paper so that you can get this beautiful ombre effect. Here's another sample with some blueberries. I kind of did the ombre in a diagonal across here. All right. So the next technique for blending brushes, or another thing that you can do with them, I better close these ink pads before I fall into them. Does that happen to you guys? I tend to drop things in my ink pads all the time. Usually it's my finished card, but I guess that just makes it special, huh? Okay, so now I'm going to show you just kind of the tail end of what is considered emboss resist technique. And that is where you stamp in Versamark ink, which is an invisible sticky ink. Then you put clear embossing powder on it and then heat emboss it. And then when you rub on top of it, the image comes, you know, kind of reveals and is popped. This is one of my favorite techniques that I just never get tired of doing. So this is, again, white cardstock. I stamped it in the clear Versamark ink, and then I put clear embossing powder over it. So when we add our ink color to it, it's going to just reveal the white cardstock that's underneath. So let's get our, I'm going to do purple since my brush has already got purple on it. And the more that you burnish it into the cardstock, then the brighter the pop is. So these dragonflies are from a new set called Dragonfly Garden, and that's where that coneflower image is from. Okay, so you get the idea. When you're done with this technique, you always want to take a tissue and just kind of buff on the emboss places, because it kind of collects a little bit of ink on top of it, and this will just get that off. So here's the finished one right here, and I just mounted that on some bumblebee cardstock. I actually just took my paintbrush, dipped it in my water, and I threw some water on it when I was done, and you can see the little water droplets created a nice little background on there. Hi, Cindy. Happy Friday. Thanks for joining me. I'm going to try to do crafting play dates for the next 4 weeks on Friday. So, okay. So this is our emboss resist technique, but I gotta just tell you about one more technique, which I can't show you because my brushes are dirty and it's too hard to clean. But I read about this technique and I tried it. And it's amazing. So you take a piece of cardstock and you take your frost white shimmer paint and you use a clean brush and you rub the paint all over your cardstock. And it just it starts to soak in. So you kind of just burnish it in until it soaks in. And then when it's all dry, so you got to let this dry. It took about, I would say, 3 minutes maybe for it to dry. You could lightly use your heat tool to speed it up a little bit, but it really didn't take long. And then you put it in an embossing folder, and I picked the new Painted Texture 3D, and you emboss it. And what you get is your own beautiful pearlized cardstock, which is, I hope it's looking pretty on camera, but it is just so pretty. So this was the Highland Heather, and again, I just put the frost white, burnished it in, let it dry, put it in the embossing folder, ran it through the cut boss, and it's amazing. It almost feels like plastic. I mean, it just puts a sheen and a nice coat on top of it. So I'm going to finish this card. Oops, I already put the dimensionals on there. By just putting that right on top. Like that. And boom. Isn't that pretty? I'm so excited about it. Okay, so I have a PDF that I'll post on my blog post and when I finish up with this video. And so you will get these ideas that I just showed you, but let me just run through them real quick to remind you what we did. We talked about burnishing with the blending tools. So you can just do that right into your cardstock. You can mask with a stencil or with a shape, and you can create backgrounds with that. You can create designer series paper that has color to it by using that to add, using the brushes to add color. You can create an ombre effect with using 3 colors of the same hue and also masking. And you can emboss resist and you can add the shimmer paint. So you've got a bunch of ideas of things you can do with these new blending tools. And then we also just covered our rip and flip card, which is so stinking cute. Okay, there we go. And we got our rip and flip card. Again, all of these directions and photos will be on my blog later on today. And that is all I have for you today. I hope that I've inspired you to get some of your some of your own things out, your crafting supplies, get them out and use them. And look, I got inky fingers, so I know we did a good job. And thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great weekend. Bye.